Hey, today on the bench is the Detectron DG-2 Geiger Counter from about 1950. So it's roughly 73, 74 years old. Now I've already done a video on this, and I'll put a link to it at the end of the video if you want to see a more detailed analysis of how it works and the modifications I did to get this thing running on regular batteries. So a couple of days ago, since I was working with the CDV-700 and the scintillation detector, I was wondering if the scintillation detector would work on this too. And interestingly, in the early 1950s, around 1950, 51, there weren't that many scintillation detectors introduced for the purposes of uranium prospecting. They were out there. They were really brand new, freshly being introduced. Precision Radiation Instruments, I believe, put out the 111 model in the early 1950s. Detectron actually had their own version. I think it was the DS-234 and I think the 238 was the gold one. I'm not quite sure, but the DS-234 was the blue scintillation detector, and that came out a little bit later. I should do a video on that. I have several of those models, and I'm still working on getting them refurbished and operating. Anyway, so I was wondering, this is a very, very simple circuit for the DG2. This would be an easy 1 or 2 day DIY project if somebody ever just wanted to build one of these circuits from scratch. There just isn't much at all to these things. But will it work with a scintillation detector? And so let's give it a shot. You can see it right now registering counts from a nearby source. Here's a Spectrum Techniques cesium-137 source, and you can see it responds quite well with the 1B85 tube. All right, so let's go ahead and hook up the Bicron scintillation detector. This is the same one that was used in the CDV-700. All right, so let's go ahead and disconnect this here and connect this right there. So that's all good. Move this over a little bit. Okay, so before I turn this on, just a reminder, like this with the CDV-700, this is going to probably come very close to, I'm just assuming, it might max out the scale, it might give it 50% deflection, but one thing for sure, on the lowest range, it's going to register pretty good. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. All right, it's not really putting out too much, but it is registering. So let's go ahead and move the cesium-137 source closer. All right, and it is registering. So it's actually not going into full deflection, which means that this circuit is not super accommodating to the photomultiplier tube that's being used in this scintillation detector. It's just not super efficient. As we know that this thing generally puts out around 6,000 counts per minute using a modern day detector or rate meter. And this thing, the way it's blinking right now, looks like it might be registering, I don't know, 50, maybe 50 or 60 counts a minute, somewhere around there. So it's not super efficient, but hey, what do you expect? It's a 74, 73-year-old circuit that is designed for Geiger tubes, not scintillation detectors. It's just amazing that it works. So let's go ahead and put this on a higher scale. You will notice that the light dims, and that's also something that is evident even with the Geiger tube. Okay, and it seems to be going. Let's go on the highest scale. Yeah, the scaling actually seems to work. Now, as far as calibration and how it kind of factors out there, it's not even close, but it does generally seem to work. All right, well, there you have it, folks. A DG2 working with a late model scintillation detector.